Hi guys, so today I'm bringing you a 20-minute mobility and strength endurance workout. So for this workout, we're gonna have 4 blocks of work. Each block is gonna be structured with a 90-second interval of mobility movement. Okay, we're gonna do a lot of hip focus today because that's an area that many of us can have a lot of tightness because we sit a lot, things like that. But joint mobility is so important because if we want to make sure we're moving well in full range of motion at the joints, because that's going to impact all of our other movements that we're doing. So 90 seconds of that mobility work, and then there's going to be 2 1-minute sets of a strength move. The strength move is going to be total body, and we're going to be going lighter weights, higher reps, since it is 1 minute of work. So I only have from like 8 to 15 pounds here. You might need a little less than that even. But that's how each block will be structured. We're going to hit 4 blocks of work and then call it a day. So I'm not going to do a formal warm up because we are going to be working the mobility movement to get started with each strength set. So we're just going to get right into it. All right, so I'm going to hit my timer here. Okay, so first move, we're going to come down onto the ground. I want you guys to step that leg out to the side. So inside leg straight, foot flat on the ground if you can. And what we're going to do is we're going to shift those hips back and we're going to reach that arm through so you get the back of the shoulder a nice stretch. Okay, and then we're going to lift those hips up, and as we lift up, we're going to reach that hand up. So shift the hips back, arm goes through, and then reach up. Okay, so we're getting a nice stretch for the inner thigh. We're working those hips with that forward back motion, getting a nice stretch through the thoracic spine, through the shoulders there. All right, so we're gonna stay here for half the time and then switch in a few seconds here to the other side. So again, 90 seconds in the mobility. All right, go ahead and find your way to the other leg. So again, straight out, foot flat if you can, hands forward. As we shift the hips back, we're reaching that arm through. And then as we shift back forward, that arm comes up. All right, I'll just show from the side here so you can see what's happening. So shift the hips back, reach the arm through. And then as we shift forward, reach that arm up. All right, so just kind of find yourself in a 1 or 2 second hold once you get to each position. All right, we're here for just about 10 more seconds. And then we'll have a little transition time to get ready for our strength move. All right, so transition here, 30 seconds to rest and look at what's going on. I actually meant to grab my kettlebell, so I'm gonna go get that. So our strength move here, all right, is gonna be a sumo squat with an upright row. All right, so we just woke up those inner thighs, the shoulders. Okay, so now we're gonna tap in to a strength move relative to those similar muscles. So we're gonna sink down into a squat, knees in line with the toes. And then as we come up, those elbows are gonna drive in line with or a touch higher than the shoulders, okay? So sink it down. If you can get that weight all the way to the floor, go for it. I want you to think about squeezing the inner thighs as you come up, keeping that core bracing, right? And an important thing here is we just wanna make sure the wrists are not coming above the elbows. We wanna keep those wrists in a nice neutral position. You should be squeezing the butt as you come up out of this too. Knees tracking in line with the toes, okay? And shoulders getting a nice squeeze as again the elbows drive in line with or a touch higher than the shoulders. Okay, so we're gonna be getting anywhere from probably 15 to 20 reps in this 1 minute interval. All right, and again, lighter on the weight choice since endurance is the focus today, okay? We're focusing on quality of the reps. We're working on good form and technique. All right, not super heavy weights today. Last rep there. All right, we have a 20-second rest in between. We're gonna do that same strength set again. My heart rate got up, maybe because I'm talking through this, but hopefully your heart rate will start to get up a little bit because we are working for an entire minute. So we're getting ready to go for that second set now in 3, 2, 1. All right, 1 more minute here. And then that will be the end of our first block. All right, let me talk about breathing. We're inhaling on the lower and exhaling on the work, okay? Make sure you really are bracing that core as you lower down into the movement. That helps protect your back. And then, like I said, exhaling as we come up. Always think about exhaling during the hard part of the movement. I lost my timer because my TV or my computer screen went black, but we should hopefully still be able to hear it. You guys can probably hear my knees making noise here. Hopefully you got some music on. All right, but again, inhaling on that lower, exhaling, squeeze the butt, inner thighs, elbows in line with or a touch higher than those shoulders. All right, guys, you got this. So hopefully that mobility work helped to open things up. All right, prepare those hips, inner thighs, shoulders for this work we're doing now. And I feel like that's probably got to be a minute. Let me see here on my computer. It went to sleep. Oh no. Well, unless it just paused, then we might get some extra work here. That's okay. We're gonna go 15 more seconds. A few extra reps never hurt anybody. As long as you're not going super heavy here, which again, endurance focus. We think higher volume as far as lighter weights and more reps. All right, and that's it for block one. All right, guys, about 15 more seconds before we get into block two. I'm gonna show you what our mobility movement is, and then you can join me, right? So I want you to try to get your knees 90 degree angle, 90 degree angle. Fingertips are facing you. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll those knees to one side. And then when you get there, we're gonna press up and reach back, okay? So roll to the other side, lift those hips like you're the Little Mermaid, shooting out of the water here. You get a nice opener for the hip. You also get a nice opening through the side body and the lats there. I'll show from the side just so you can see from here what it looks like. So 90-90, press up, hips go forward, and then reach it back. This is probably one of my favorite mobility stretches. Really feel the hips opening up there. And then I also like just getting that nice stretch through the side of the body. You might have to reach back a little further to feel it, depending on where you're tight or where you're not tight. So I just personally really like this one. All right, so stay with it here. We'll have our little transition before we go into our lift. And our lift coming up is going to be a Romanian deadlift with a row. So I want you guys to go lighter, go based off of what you can row, because usually we can go heavier with the Romanian deadlift aspect of it, but since we're rowing in the bent over position, I do want you to go a bit lighter. And again, we're there for a minute. So I think I am probably gonna pick up my 12s. All right, let's go ahead and transition to get ready for this move. Okay, so you guys are gonna decide on your weight. So I'm gonna go with my 12, see how that feels, all right? I'll show you from the front here. Actually, I'll show from the side. Soft bend at the knees, back flat, shoulders down. We're gonna hinge at the hips. Imagine pressing the butt back, keeping a soft bend in the shoulders, and I actually think we're gonna go neutral grip row on this. So I want those elbows hugging in tight to the ribs. As we come down, flat back, hug the elbows in tight to the ribs, lower down, and squeeze that butt. All right, we are getting ready for our work here. All right, and we are in it right now. So hinge, row, and stand, okay? On an RDL, you should feel the stretch through the hammies as you lower, and then you should feel that butt squeezing to get you back up. So hinge. On that row, we want to make sure we're squeezing those shoulder blades together, like we're trying to pinch a pencil between them. Exhaling as we row, inhaling as we lower, exhaling as we lift back up. Make sure that core is bracing so we protect that lower back. Again, slow and intentional with these movements. We're not rushing. We got a whole minute to get reps in. Again, this one we're probably going to be closer to 15 reps since it is more of the, takes a little more time than that last move we did to hit that row. All right, you guys, your rest is now for 20 seconds. All right, and then we're going to get ready to do another set. All right, we're going in 10. So bend those knees to pick the weights up. All right, I'll show from the front position just so you can see how my arms are for this, right? But We're in it now. Hinge, flat back. See on the row how my elbows stay in tight to those ribs. Squeeze the butt to come up. Since we're in an RDL, well, we never want to lock a joint out, but we especially want to make sure those knees are not locked out when we're doing this. That's why we keep that soft bend. Right. I'm going to show one more here, and I'll turn back to the side view just because I think it's really helpful to see that side view so you can see how flat the back stays. I'm squeezing the butt to lift back up. Right, but working with lighter weights, you guys, it's really good for us because it does help us to refocus on our form and our technique. It helps us to really make that mind-muscle connection with where we're feeling the movement. Okay, so again, hammies here, back lats here, and then butt when I stand up here. All right, so we're getting ready to transition now to our third set. Okay, we're going in about 22 seconds. All right, next mobility move I'm going to show you is another one of my favorites. We're going to get in a high plank, bridge up to down dog. You're going to lift your leg and let the foot fall back so the hip opens. This is called scorpion. So you're going to hold that for a second or two. Then you're going to drive the knee forward into pigeon. Square the hips to the floor. Okay, feel that the glutes get a nice stretch there. Then we're going to go back to down dog. We're going to lift that leg. Bend the knee, let the gravity take that lower part of the leg back to open the hip up. Drive that knee through. Square the hips to the floor, back leg straight if you can. Feel the glutes on that bent leg, getting a nice stretch. Down dog, scorpion, let that hip open. Drive that knee through. Feel those glutes stretching. I have a lot of favorites, I guess, when it comes to these dynamic stretches, these active stretches that work on mobility. All right, we're only about halfway through, about 40 more seconds. So down dog again, reach it up, bend at the knee, scorpion, open the hip, drive that knee through. But if you can work exercises like this just into your morning routine or your evening routine, really anywhere, so good for our joints, you guys. It's going to help you move better in daily life. It's going to help you move better in your exercises that you're doing. Because if we have tightness in those muscles surrounding the joints, then it's going to impact our whole movement pattern. Not always for the better, because we'll overcompensate. Okay, we might pull something. All right, last one here. All right, guys, our movement here, we're going to hit glutes, hammies, triceps. So we're going to take a single weight on this one, and we're going to work a hip thruster with a tricep extension. So feet flat, knees at 90, arms extended straight overhead. Okay, we're going to lift those glutes up in the air. All right, actually we're going to start here. No, we're going to start here. Okay, we're going to go in unison. So I want you to have that bend at the elbow. All right, and I just lost my timer. All right, guys, we're in that first set. So bend at the knees, bend at the elbows, and we're pressing up with the hips as we press that weight, and the arms go straight. All right, so we're lowering and then lifting. So I want you to really be intentional about squeezing that butt. Make sure that tailbone is tucked under. Make sure the elbows stay stacked above the shoulders. And as you straighten the arms, we're squeezing the triceps, so the back of the upper arm. Okay, we're inhaling on that lower, exhaling on the press. Inhaling on the lower, exhaling on the press. Make sure the elbows are not flaring out so that we are keeping the work in the triceps. Last one here. All right, you guys, little break, and then we're going into that second set. All right, so same thing coming up here. So get set, feet flat on the ground, knees bent. Start with the arms straight, and then we'll go to bent elbows, and we're back in it. Lift and press. Careful not to overextend on that thrust up. We don't want the hips coming too high. We want to think a nice straight line from the knees to the hips to the shoulders, okay? If you overextend too much there, that can put some strain on the lower back. So the way you can avoid that is again by thinking about tucking your tailbone, all right? And then squeezing the butt as we lift. Keep breathing through it. Again, we should feel it in the booty in particular, some in the hammies there, and then the back of your arms or triceps are working. Shoulders are helping to stabilize everything there with the upper body. Okay, keep breathing, inhale and exhale. All right, again, lots of reps in this 1 minute, probably at least 15 plus we're getting. All right, get one more here. Nice work, you guys. All right, we're coming into our final block. All right, let me show you guys the mobility movement for this one. It's gonna be a little bit of a combo, okay? We're gonna do a lower back release, arms to the side, shoulder blades stay glued to the ground, knees bent. We're gonna let those knees drop to one side and the lower back gets a release, but keep your shoulder blades glued down. We're gonna hit 2 both directions, so 1, 2, and then another set here, 1 and 2. And then we're gonna come to feet flat. We're gonna lift the hips like we just did, and we're gonna do, think of like a calf raise. Okay, so we're gonna work that ankle mobility here. And we're gonna do 4 of those, okay? Lower back down. So we're going 4 on that lower back release. Again, shoulder blades stay glued. 1 more this side. Feet flat now, bridge up, and then press onto your toes for 4. So just press as high as you can onto those toes. Okay, working that, again, ankle mobility, and then even working the joints at our toes there by pressing up onto them. I love this one for lower back, but again, really got to make sure the shoulder blades stay glued down. Okay, that's what helps to make this most effective. Okay, and you might not be able to get them all the way to the ground, and that's okay. Lift up again. Hit that little calf raise. Whoops, I lost my screen here, hopefully. I'm gonna change the settings on my sleep mode for my computer. Probably coming in on 1.5 minutes here, so I'm gonna finish this one and then I'll check it. It might have just shut off the sound there since I went to sleep. 1 more there. Okay. All right, so now last move for our strength piece here. Yeah, that's all right. Well, I think it just shut off where it went to sleep. So if you need a little extra time there, feel free to go for it. Now we're gonna go alternating curtsy lunge. So I'm gonna go a little bit light here. All right, so I'm gonna get my 8s for this one. So what we're gonna do for our strength move is we're gonna step back, step back at an angle, drop that knee to the ground, not all the way to the ground, it can hover. And then as we come up, we're gonna curl, okay? So on that step back, we lower those weights down, and then we curl when we stand up. On a curtsy, we want that back knee to be just beyond that front knee, okay? And we want the front knee to stay at about 90. All right, I'm gonna show from another angle, but join me now. If that curtsy is too much for you, just do a regular reverse lunge. So just step it straight back. That's your alternative. You really gotta catch your balance on this one, like I just lost mine there. And then curl. Let me show you from this side here. Okay, so stepping back at about a 45-degree angle. That front knee is at about 90. And then we curl those weights as we step up, all right? Oops, I think I gave you extra time on this one, but that's okay. I was working through the rest there, but elbows staying tight. So this is more like a hammer curl, right? On that curl, we get full extension at the bottom, so arm is basically straight. And then when we come up, we don't come all the way up because that can kind of pull into the shoulders a little more. Stop a few inches right in front of the shoulder. Inhaling on the lower, exhaling on that lift. All right, we're almost there, guys. actually gave you extra work on this one, so you're welcome. Elbows staying in tight, don't swing the weights. Really feel the load in that lead leg. All right, we have one more 1 minute set. All right, and then I'll take you through just a couple of quick cool down moves. But again, having the mobility built into this is really nice because we're automatically getting a lot of stretching in here. So, all right guys, last 1 minute set in your lunges with the curls. Again, step it back, sink it down, curl it up as we stand. Lower and lift. Core stays tight. When you tighten your core, that helps with balance. If you don't know what it means to tighten your core, I want you to imagine somebody's about to sucker punch you. The way you would brace yourself for that is tightening your core. It's not sucking in. If you think about kind of pulling or drawing your belly button in towards your spine, okay, as you're bracing for that sucker punch, right? And curl, and I'll show for the last 20 seconds from the side view. Again, if you need to go straight back in this and just work that reverse lunge, there's nothing wrong with that. Just hitting that angle hits those inner thighs a little bit more as we're pressing up out of it. Last rep. All right, guys, awesome job. I hope you guys enjoyed that 20-minute mobility, strength, endurance session. All right, we'll just take a couple of minutes here to stretch things out. So let's just reach for the foot, hold for a few seconds, and then reach for that other foot. All right, get those inner thighs a nice stretch. Just shift your weight side to side. All right, guys. And go ahead and just walk those feet in. All right, I want you to come down to one knee, step one leg forward, tuck your tailbone under, and then I want you to take your arm up and over to the other side and just hold there for a few seconds. All right, think about squeezing the butt on the leg that's back. That forces that hip to open up. Then I want you to go ahead and just straighten that front leg, lean into it, get those hamstrings a nice stretch. Definitely hit those hammies pretty good today. But really, we got a little bit of everything. So I hope you guys come back to this and you feel like you want a full body workout, not super heavy on the weight choice, but just lots of reps, lots of focus on form and technique, and then having that added mobility piece in. Other leg steps it forward, tuck the tailbone, up and over. I'll come back to you guys this way. Yep, so squeeze the butt on the leg that's back. And then when you're ready, shift those hips back and just lean into it here. I should feel the stretch all the way through the hammies here. Go ahead and step those feet forward. Take the elbows, kind of press those knees away. You can hold it right here, or if you want to lean forward, get a deeper stretch for the inner thighs there. Let's come back here, and I want you guys just to reach it up, add a little twist here. Get that spine a nice stretch. And inch those feet in, come on up. Let's hit triceps since we worked those a little bit. So reach down between the shoulder blades. All right, and feel that stretch through the triceps there. And then switch. Other hand reaches down. And then we got biceps as well, so let's go ahead and just get a little forearm stretch here. Feel a little through the biceps there as well. And reverse it. It's always good to do this one when you're lifting weights. All right, just get those arms a nice stretch. We're gripping a lot, you know, so good to get those forearms a little release. All right, guys, great work today. Hope you enjoyed that one. I would love your feedback. Have a good one, guys.